They couldn't believe that these things could be alive.
就这个码头啊，伤害我们中国人不知多少人啊！
他呀是来到我们老家参加了是抗日的游击队，
所以才形成了那个万人坑。
Pigeon mission was a good story.
(1945). As Japan surrenders, World War II ends. But with peace comes a final brutal act. To hide their war crimes, defeated Japanese troops begin slaughtering Allied prisoners of war. A race against time begins. The Allies launched desperate waves of rescue missions. One was codenamed Pigeon Mission. This forgotten story surfaced 15 years ago. In 2010, with the help of some Chinese friends, Australian Brandon John Worrell hosted an exhibition at the Hainan Museum. Its title, Pigeon Mission, the 65th anniversary of the Dongfang drop-down and liberation of the Allied prisoners of war. Now, 15 years later, our search for the truth leads us to the man who started it all.
Hello, Brandon.
For Brandon, it all began in 2004. He and his Chinese wife were seeking a coastal home. While researching Hainan online, he discovered fragments of a story, an Allied airborne mission in Dongfang. He was instantly hooked. He began a quiet search, piecing together scattered evidence and the memories of the last remaining survivors.
Pigeon mission was a good story. It was fascinating to think 9 young men risk their life to help Australian, Dutch and Chinese to get freedom.
For 20 years, Brandon has chased the scattered clues of Pigeon Mission. His search has spanned 3 continents, all self-funded. He has captured countless images and compiled volumes of research.
And actually, when they did land, which was around here, if you can look, this is the old Japanese map. The prisoners we had around here to Dongfang and to Lao Aozun.
Oh, yeah.
那个心情
Yeah.
I can see over time more Australians coming here to learn about the history. When the Japanese emperor surrendered, many of his soldiers didn't want to, nor did they believe it. The Japanese belief was not to surrender. When Pigeon Mission landed at 10 o'clock in the morning, they only had a pistol, no rifles, no machine guns, no grenades, no real weapons. When they parachuted very low, their baggage, their medicine, their radios all broke into pieces.
August the 27th, 1945, around 10:30 a.m. The Pigeon Mission rescue team, 1 Chinese and 8 American soldiers, took off from Kunming, Yunnan. Above Basuo, Hainan, they made their move. But on the ground, their plan began to unravel. Some were injured by the rough landing. Worse, the Japanese began closing in. The commotion also drew local villagers. As a crowd of Chinese gathered, the Japanese soldiers had them surrounded, hesitating to openly kill Allied soldiers. Seizing the moment, the team's captain concocted a ruse. Using a major's insignia, he posed as a superior officer, intimidating the Japanese into negotiations. He stated their mission: to rescue POWs. And he demanded the Japanese officer order his men to protect the team and their supplies. A team member later wrote in his memoir, "This was the crucial test. If the Japanese officer obeyed a sequence of orders, we had him in our pocket." Sweat rolled down inside my shirt. My heart was pumping in my throat. After a long while, I heard the trucks approach to load our supplies. We had won our first engagement of this strange campaign.
Then the Pigeon mission, 9 of them were taken away to Beilitsun, over that direction, the headquarters of the Japanese Imperial Navy. The Pigeon mission couldn't come back to the prison camp here until the next afternoon. They tried to clean it up, but obviously the evidence was there of a sad part of history.
馆长，我们见一下，然后了解了解当时的内容。
To better understand the atrocities committed by the Japanese in Dongfang, our reporter and Brandon visited the Dongfang Municipal Museum.
按照我们这些年整理的史料这个记载，那么当年日本侵略者侵占我们巴索地区之后呢，俘虏并押解来这里的盟军战俘，就强迫他们为他们修建巴索港，70%都被折磨致死，从来不给休息，也饭菜很差，所以他们是瘦得皮包骨头，而且染了疾病之后也不给你治疗，因为怕传染，直接就活活的烧死，或者是杀掉、掩埋掉尸体，所以才形成了那个万人坑。
The museum director's words are confirmed in Brandon's collection of photographs. You can almost feel the damp, dark, foul air of the POW camp seep through the images. The camera reveals figures, barely human, starved until skin clung to bone, their sunken eyes like dark pits. Open sores wept, swarmed by flies. This was their daily reality. The Japanese cared little for the health of these disposables. Hainan Island, a strategic location in South China and the Pacific Ocean with abundant natural resources, was a key target for Japanese occupation and plunder. The Shilu iron mine and the natural deep-water harbour of Baso drew their greedy eyes. From 1940, the Japanese forced over 30,000 Chinese labourers alongside more than 500 Allied POWs from Britain, Australia, Canada and India to build railways and ports near Dongfang's Yulinzhou.
4点钟、5点钟，阿婆睡醒了。三姐就是阿婆的女儿，打电话给她找个阿婆，好好嘞。
The woman on screen is Zhang Renchang, now 100 years old. In 1941, at age 16, she was forced to work at the Baswo port construction site. She is a witness and a survivor of that dark history.
就这个码头啊，伤害我们中国人不知多少人啊，害我们这里市里帮城里人去跟他住，住得好就好，住不好他就打，打就是打到你死啊，打你不生不死，拿铁城去那个万人坑，那个人古人呢，他不怕你的，日本人打他不讲来了，不怕，死都不怕，他这样。
Inside the camp, hunger and disease consumed lives day and night. To survive, prisoners caught rats, lizards, and snakes for food. But it wasn't enough. Instinct drove some to risk approaching the camp's edge. There, kind-hearted villagers, also risking their lives, would secretly give them food.
我们在那个地瓜呢，就是我们拿去吃。他说好啦好啦，哎呦，他喜欢啊，喜欢讲好咯好哦。
A few prisoners were lucky enough to escape. In 1943, 5 more escaped and were rescued by guerrilla fighters. 2 of the Australians even joined the local resistance.
他呀是来到我们老敖参加了是抗日的游击队啊，一起打仗。后来这2名战士呢都得病，当时没有那个西药，所以老敖人民去找草药来给他治疗。后来呢治疗无效呢，他就牺牲了。我们老敖人民就把他埋在刚才我们去那个地方，在玉米地里。学生、老师、农民，每年3月清明节，我们都来纪念他。
在整个海南抗战当中，我们是十分重视对于盟军战俘的解救和保护的。除了我们所了解到的在巴索港周围解救盟军的事迹以外，我们在儋州还解救了13个起义的印度士兵，并且把他们编成了一个国际战斗班，跟我们一起战斗。我们在陵水、三亚一带还解救了一个美军的中尉飞行员，给予他很好的这个生活上的照顾。我们解救西方盟军的战俘，恰恰是我们作为盟国军队应该履行的战斗义务。所以我们琼崖的抗战军民才会在那么艰苦的条件和环境中间细心的保护和照顾这些战俘，直到抗战胜利，把它顺利的交给盟军的代表。
After several tense negotiations, on August the 29th, 1945, 3 days after Pigeon mission landed, the heavy gates of the POW camp finally swung open. The first survivors boarded a train to Sanya, then a ship to Hong Kong, and then home. As ships carried these war-torn lives homeward, the trains kept running day and night. Thousands of hearts hung in the balance until September the 14th, when the very last prisoner in Dongfang was safely evacuated. The life-saving relay named Pigeon had finally come to an end. October 1945. The Australian POWs returned home. For 4 long years, there had been no news. Were these sons, husbands, and fathers alive somewhere in the world? Or had they become nameless bones? No one dared ask. No one dared think. Until this moment, when crowds poured into the streets to welcome them home.
You know how strange that may seem? They dropped them about bloody 3 or 4 bloody kilometres away from us. And then the Japs picked them up and took them around to their headquarters.
Right, so you didn't know.
And then it wasn't until the next day that a truck came in and a Yank stepped out of it. They couldn't believe that men could be looked like. They couldn't believe that these things could be alive.
Even today, Brandon continues his quest, piecing together the faded clues of Pigeon mission. The light he carries isn't just to illuminate the past, but to ignite a flame in the hearts of others. The fires of Pigeon mission have long since faded, but the dove of peace has never stopped flying. It soars across time, reminding us of war's cruelty and life's fragility. It crosses all borders, speaking of courage without nationality and a shared desire for peace. from the camaraderie and resolve shared by the Chinese and Allied forces on the ground in Hainan, to Brendan's 2-decade search and our journey of understanding and commemorating the event, this story is about more than one place, more than one mission. It is a mirror and a warning. It is a timeless declaration from the heart of humanity. Peace is our common and eternal pursuit.